crazy goats out here. They kind of just wander around and eat all day. So we're out here today. We're gonna go check on these sheep. Actually, this morning, one of them got stuck in this cattle pen we have down here. So I'm gonna go make sure that hasn't happened again. And also, they've actually kind of drug out all this hay. I'll show y'all when I get down here. It caused a little bit of a mess for me, so I'll have to go clean this up. But I'll give y'all a tour of it here in a second. Just like I predicted, here goes some of the sheep leaving now. Look at this man. Look at this man. I don't even know how he got in there. But I don't have anywhere to set this up, but I'm going to have to get him out of here. And all this hay, if you can see all on the ground, all this hay they threw around, I'm going to rake it up and put it in a pile out here so it's not going to waste thrown around. But this man has got himself into a little bit of an entanglement. We'll get him out of here. But let's try to get this man out of here. It's just me by myself, so they get a little fidgety. Even with just me or my dad or anybody, they just, they're not domestic animals. So we're going to see how we're going to get this done. Easy. Okay. He's getting a little crazy out here. We'll see how we can get him out of here. And so, my plan is, I'm just going to grab his ass, and I'm going to lift him up over this. If he doesn't run like crazy. Oh man, relax, relax. Oh. Oh. And this is him. This is him. We're gonna let him go. I don't want him to kick me or nothing. And that's just some of the stuff we have to deal with out here. So I'm gonna actually try to figure out a better way. I don't know how he got in there. I really don't. But I'm going to have to do a little bit of walking around and see if I can find how he got in there. But I had no other option but to pick him up out of there because the cattle pen, the holes are way too small for him to fit through them. So he would have never got out. Whew, that was actually a little bit of a struggle because those animals, they can be dangerous if you pick them up like that because they like to kick. So he could have kicked me in my private part or in my head or something. So you always got to be careful whenever you're messing with them because they get very, very scared. But that's how we do it, man. I had to get him out of there. I had no other option. But I'm going to start cleaning up some of this hay, see if I can prop y'all up somewhere else. I tell you, they caused a mess out of this hay roll. I am not kidding. Look at all this hay everywhere in here. And I really don't like to see this because this is just a waste. They're not going to eat it off the ground too much. They're going to just come right here and start eating some more and keep dragging it out. And we really don't need this hay here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just rake whatever's on top here. All of this hay. Even this hay over here. I'm going to put it in a pile and I'm going to start transporting it and putting it maybe back in here or in a separate pile somewhere over here. But all right, I don't know how well y'all can see, but I'm going to use this rake and I'm just going to start, going off the top and trying to clean all this up into a pile. It's going to take me a little bit of time. Man, it's a lot of hay they drug around here. What I'm going to most likely do is once I clean this up, I'll probably start putting them in these pens over here. It's just easier for them to get to it, and also they can't drag it around. Then we'll figure out some kind of way to, I don't know, man, figure out how to close this up even better. I don't know how they're getting in here. I've been trying to look around. I can't really find any big holes, especially not no hole that he could fit in. But somehow, some way, he's definitely getting in here. So let's finish raking all this up. And what I'm just trying to do is just lightly go over the top. I don't want to get too much manure or anything like that. But I have to get most of this hay up because if not, it's just going to be a waste out here. A lot of these banana spiders out here. All in here. They're actually poisonous, so I keep running into them. Hopefully I don't get bit by any of them. I'm not scared of spiders, but I do not like to get bit by spiders. Let's just put it that way. They have just kind of drug this stuff all over the place in here. And they don't care about our time or money or anything, so they'll just drag this stuff out everywhere. So that's something to look forward to if you ever have sheep or goats. So I got a pretty decent pile of hay. There's plenty of hay left here, but I got a pretty decent pile that they've kind of thrown around. I'll show y'all the after. So you can still see there's some small strands and whatnot, but most of this hay I got up. You can see some of them are down there by the creek. But yeah, man, I got up as much as I could. Some of this stuff I might go over a little bit more, but I'd be raking up a lot of dirt and poop if I don't just go lightly over it. So this is what it came down to. This is a pretty big pile here, but I'll probably put most of it over here in these pens over here. You can still see there's a little bit of hay right here and whatnot. I'll probably put it one on each side. There's one on each side, so I'll probably put some hay there. All right, so I've just finished up picking up most of this hay. What I did with this hay roll here is I kind of broke off from the top of it, and I lined it all up against the edge of the cattle pen fence. So that way they don't have to drag off so much, and then also they don't have to try to shove their heads so far in there to try to reach the hay bale. And that way, it just for at least till tomorrow morning, I come back out here, I'll rip some more if I need to, or if they do drag it out, it might be a little bit easier for me to rake it up right away. But I kind of just ripped some off of the top and just lined up a good bit all around the cattle pen, so that way they can just eat right out through the small holes in the cattle pen. That big pile of hay that was right here that I raked up, I lined that all back up here. That way, while they're eating it, all that's left is the hay. Any dirt that I might have picked up or anything like that, it's just going to fall through the cattle pen that it's laying up against. So I put a good bit there, and I put the other half here on this side. And then we got this bin down here that I filled in with some hay. It's just for the smaller ones that, you know, maybe can't reach that, or also whatever falls might be caught up in there. But it's just something else they can eat out of, nothing special. But that's pretty much it. You can see there's still small strands on the ground. You're never going to be able to get it all up. That's just the way it is out here. I'd be out here raking for all day to try to get every last piece up. But majority of the hay that was out here, I did get up. And they're already out here. They'll be back up here the second that I leave to get back to eating once they see me gone. But that's pretty much it. A little bit of work, maybe 30 minutes of raking up and moving it from one spot to another. But what has to get done, or these animals will drag all this and waste a lot of it. All right. So what I'm getting ready to do now is I'm just going to do a quick walkthrough of the field, just so I can just make sure none of them are maybe stuck in the fence by chance, or hurt. You never know. Honestly, you never really know. We found some that get sick and you don't even know until they're passed away, but you don't want to leave them out here rotting. So what I do when my dad is in Europe for this next month, me and Irvin are going to take care of everything here. Irvin's got school. He's got school work. He's got to get done. So I have some time to go through and just make sure everything's okay. That's my parents' house down there. That's where Irvin's at right now working. But I'm just gonna walk through here, just make sure everything's okay. Everybody's taken care of. You can see some of the sheep here. They're all scattered around. This land right here, I believe is about 10 acre from the fence line down here at their house all the way up there. And then runs all the way back up there to my shop and whatnot. But this piece, not where my shop is about 10 acres in itself. So I'm just gonna do a quick walkthrough, make sure they're all okay. You can see the stream here. This is a bridge we had made a long time ago, and it's kind of just falling apart. But either way, they can walk through. You can see this is a natural spring, so it always has a little bit of water in it. And then on top of that, we do have water buckets. But I'm just gonna walk through, make sure everything's okay. It's a very nice view out here. Everything's still green, but it's getting ready to die soon. That's why we have the hay out here. Fall is on its way. It's a lot cooler outside today, especially at night and in the early morning and the evening. It gets a lot colder. The temperatures start to drop. But yeah, man, yeah, you can see some running through. We're gonna see, just make sure everybody's okay, everybody's taken care of. The fence line is pretty good. We put up a whole new fence maybe 4 or 5 years ago, redid the whole fence line, and it's held up very, very well. So they shouldn't be stuck, but I always like to just walk through and make sure. I can see most of the fence line here. Down there is where the goats are. I got to go take a look at that, make sure they haven't tore apart their hay roll. We'll do that once we walk through this field. Here go a couple more of the boys. So there's about a couple different packs that stay together. You got a couple over here, a couple of them down there. You'll always find them in pairs. If they're not in a big pack together like that, they're always either in a pair of two. Sometimes you'll see one eating alone, but most of the time they like to stick together. That's just the kind of animals they are. But fence line looks good from here. Some of this stuff is so thick you can't even walk through it. We were all the way down there by my parents' house. You can barely see it now. We're not quite in the corner. We're almost in the corner. The property corner is up there, but this is a very good vantage point. This is the top of the hill. I can see everything, make sure everything's taken care of. I just like to do this, make sure everything's okay. So as I was walking back to the sheep's barn, this is something pretty cool. So this tree, I think it might have got either hit by lightning or rotted out or something, but it is busted in 4 different pieces, as you can see. These trees, they will, as long as they're rooted, they will grow. You can see one section here, one section here, it's still alive, but these 2 sections here are dead, but it literally split in 4. It used to be one whole tree. I'm not sure what caused that. It could have been lightning, could have just been old age. I'm honestly not sure, but that's pretty cool. That's where we just cleaned up all that hay that they drug around. Did a little walkthrough. The sheep for today are done. See, I got my little helper back here. So for now, we're okay. We'll be back out here tomorrow morning. Take a look, make sure everything's still good, still in order, that they haven't tore that apart. But we're gonna head down here to the goats, down to my parents' house, make sure they haven't torn apart their hay roll. And if they have, clean it up as well, I guess. But that's pretty much it for the sheeps. We did the walkthrough, cleaned up the hay, nothing left to do for them other than shut the gate behind us. En route to my parents' house. That's the field we were in, not just a couple minutes ago, doing the walkthrough. We're gonna make sure these goats haven't tore apart this hay bale. I'm really hoping they haven't done it as bad as the sheep have. There's not as many goats as there are sheep, so it shouldn't be as bad. But I can imagine that they have tore apart some of it. It's like that time of year again, you see this spider? It's the banana spider. They're all over Georgia now. This time of year, when fall starts to hit, they actually are poisonous. If they bite you, you know, they can affect you. So they're all over the place. This is actually right here on the gate. I didn't see them until I started opening it. I'm not scared of spiders, but I'm not a big fan of them either. I don't want to get bit by them. So whenever I see them, I kind of just try to destroy the web, and I'll let him go find another home somewhere else instead of killing him. This is the hay roll down here for the goats. You can see they actually haven't done too bad. I might pick a little bit of that up and just throw it on top, but as far as needing a rake or anything like that, they have kept this spot pretty clean. This is their home in here, and they get to walk around and graze around the front yard and everything because they don't cause too many issues. So they do not need to eat this as much as the sheep do, and this is what they've caused, hardly anything. I'm grateful for that. Less work for me to have to do.